kind of just had to be there for each other to pull each other out.
A daring rescue, days after being stranded on Mount Rainier. How this Portland man says he and other climbers banded together to survive. Plus,
you can't silence us. Like, you can try, but it's not gonna do anything for you. We're gonna continue fighting this because he deserves to walk.
Vancouver teens walk out of class after a student says he was banned from walking at graduation over a speech on bullying and sexual harassment. Why some are applauding his stance and others say his claims aren't accurate. And a new scam is making the rounds.
They told me that they had called to let me know that I had a level 3 security breach.
How this woman says her computer was taken over, costing her thousands of dollars. KGW News at 6 starts now.
And first tonight, we want to tell you that all lanes are back open in the gorge. This is after a pair of crashes snarled traffic on I-84. Both crashes happening less than a mile apart. This is near Corbett earlier this afternoon. You see some of the pictures here. You notice also a semi-truck was involved in one of these crashes. We're told 3 people went to the hospital.
But somehow we made it through really cold.
Cold and much more. The 4 climbers who were stranded for days on Mount Rainier before being rescued have now been released from the hospital in Seattle. That includes a Portland man who you just heard from, calling this rescue amazing.
The 4 climbers were treated for frostbite and altitude sickness after wading through 5 failed rescue attempts to get off the mountain. Yevd Kresnitsky of Portland says it all started when a storm hit on Sunday, blowing away their tent and some gear. He says they all had to support each other physically and mentally to endure the conditions.
There are people out there that care about us. They have no idea. They're just going through more pain probably than we were. And so I kept yelling out to my friends that we have to get there. We have to finish this because we have to let them know that we're still around.
He calls the rescue crew heroes, saying they put their lives on the line for climbers who make the decision to go up there. Hundreds of mountain rescue team volunteers are on Mount Hood tonight, but not for a rescue this time.
Yeah, it's for a national convention that they're having. We have our KGW's Pat Doris at Timberline Lodge looking like wintertime up there. He's bundled up in the snow. Well, tell us about this thing, Pat.
Well, Dan, about 60 years ago, some local rescuers decided they needed national standards to make rescue more effective and more safe for everybody. And all these years later, it's still going strong. We've seen them in action for decades on Mount Hood, members of the Portland Mountain Rescue Team or the Craig Rats on the Hood Riverside. They've saved many lives and rescued countless hurt climbers.
You can just use a regular little crevasse pulley.
This week, those teams make up 300 groups gathered for the National Mountain Rescue Conference here at Mount Hood. Their hometowns are in places like Korea and Colorado, and they are here to learn.
There's not one way to do anything. You can go out there and have different options and different ways to address each situation.
Members share best practices like using geometry and ropes to ease the load during a vertical crevasse rescue. That's what they're demonstrating here.
I clip onto his line.
Some techniques are new, others timeless. Technology has definitely helped the rescue crews.
For the past 25 years with cell phones and GPSs and beacons, and those things have really made our job a lot easier and safer, both for the subjects and the rescuers.
Many who rescue are climbers themselves. People like Mark Morford from Portland Mountain Rescue.
Gosh, I've been climbing all my life.
He's climbed all over the world and noticed how much has changed over the decades.
One of the biggest changes is the gear has changed. Just like gear has changed for hikers and climbers, gear has really improved for rescue. We've got lightweight litters, we have lighter ropes, we have technical gear that's designed just for rescue. That makes our job a lot easier.
Because the lighter stuff means you can get there faster.
It's great if we can get there faster. It's great when we get there if we're not so tired from humping a lot of gear.
We have not seen any major rescues like these on Mount Hood this spring, and hopefully we won't this summer. But if the rescue teams are needed, they'll be ready, here and all over the country. And it was interesting, they were talking to me about the difference cell phones have made. Some of the guys are able to use GPS technology as they're going up looking for a lost climber. Sometimes they can call the climber directly and find out what's going on. And sometimes when they reach the climbers, they can take pictures of injuries and text them back to people at the command base, so everybody has a really fast update on what's happening. Back to you.
All right, Pat, thank you. Man, the weather's really helping them get a realistic training exercise up there, too, with all that snow. And as we talk about the weather, things a lot different, down here in the valley, in the Portland area this weekend. Lots going on, too, from Fleet Week to the Grand Floral Parade.
Also includes Zoo Brew up at the Oregon Zoo. Meteorologist Joe Ranieri checking it out for us. Also has the weekend forecast. Joe?
Hey, good evening, you guys. Yeah, we are going to be seeing some really pleasant conditions going forward. Maybe not so much tonight, but although we are starting to dry out. Earlier this afternoon, we saw some heavy downpours at times, some sun breaks, and that's kind of what we're going to be running into going forward to basically the rest of your Friday night. So if you are coming out here, I'm expecting to see more dry than wet conditions. Again, we're at the Oregon Zoo, where people are going to start to come out here for zoo brews. You can see on the radar just some spotty showers moving in along the coast and throughout the Coast Range, mainly up and down the I-5 corridor. We are dry. The places where you're going to be running into some issues will be over into the foothills of the mountains. We have been seeing lightning strikes throughout the central and southern part of the Willamette Valley and just east of Salem, I should say, and into the central and eastern side of the state. And that's where most of these thunderstorms are going to continue to develop. But you just talked with Pat Doris and you saw that kind of a really picturesque scene with some of that snow. Well, there's going to be some more snow showers here the next couple of hours as this system kind of brushes off to the east side of the state. Now, I'm not expecting to see widespread accumulation, but kind of pretty to see early part of June with some of those snow showers. And coming up in my detailed forecast in less than 10 minutes, we are going to be seeing some really pleasant weather for tomorrow and slowly starting to warm up. And we go from warm to hot to absolutely hot by the middle part of next week. I'll have the details on that coming up.
More from Joe soon. See you then. Thank you, sir. Meanwhile, we have some developing news for you right now out of our nation's capital. President Trump has just announced that the U.S. has reached an agreement with Mexico.
In a series of tweets, he says the tariffs scheduled to be implemented against Mexico Monday have been suspended indefinitely. In turn, the president says Mexico has agreed to, quote, take strong measures to stem the tide of migration through Mexico and to our southern border. He says details of the agreement will be released shortly by the State Department. A grand jury has indicted the man accused of killing a Salem mother and son. Carissa Fretwell and her son Billy haven't been seen since May 13th. Authorities have not found their bodies, but arrested Michael Wolf, the boy's father, last month. The Yamhill County District Attorney says there's a lot of evidence the two were murdered. Wolf will be in court to face the charges later this month. Police have arrested 2 people in connection to this attack on a convenience store clerk in southeast Portland, but they're still looking for 3 other suspects. Officers say Crystal Aveling turned herself in along with a juvenile. The attack happened last month at the Chevron Market at 148th and Stark. The victim's mother says he confronted a teenager who stole some ice cream from the store. The next night, she says that teen returned with a group that attacked him.
This next story, I mean, just the headline alone makes you go, wait, huh? What? Today, a judge sentenced 2 men to 5 days in jail for throwing horse lubricant mixed with glitter on Portland police officers. There you have it. Police say this happened actually at a Patriot prayer rally downtown last August. Officers were told that some counter-protesters had 4 large buckets of a slimy liquid and water guns strapped to their backs. They asked Robert Majur and Tristan Romaine Mann to dump out the buckets, but instead they say they threw that liquid at the officers. So thousands of Comcast customers in Washington are going to get a rebate after a judge ruled the cable company charged them for a service they did not agree to.
KGW's Kyle Aboshi joins us from the newsroom to break down who will get the money and, Kyle, how much.
Well, and a couple important points here. This only applies to customers in Washington, not Oregon, and the judge gave Comcast 60 days to pay customers back. It's really not clear at this point how much each customer will get. This all stems from a civil lawsuit filed by Washington Attorney General Bob Ferguson. He claimed the company misled consumers. Yesterday, a judge ruled Comcast had indeed signed up customers for a monthly service protection plan without their consent and misrepresented the cost. Nearly 50,000 customers were affected in Washington, each paying about $4.99 to $5.99 a month for the plan. After the ruling, Comcast said it was pleased the judge recognized any issues have been addressed by the company. In addition to the customer rebates, the judge hit Comcast with a hefty fine, $9 million for violation of Washington's Consumer Protection Act. Back to you.
Kyle, thank you. A Gresham woman is on the hook for more than $9,000 after falling victim to the latest technology scam. It involves gift cards and scammers taking over your computer. KGW's Chris Willis talked to experts who say this is a new twist on a familiar con job.
I had no idea that they could be this elaborate.
It is the latest scam to hit the Portland metro area, and it's known as the tech imposter scam. It happened to Joy Brookhouse while she was shopping online for a desk.
Up pops this one on Google that's limited fire sale.
A desk worth hundreds of dollars offered for a mere $12.95. So she clicked on it, bought it, but it never came.
I just went on with life figuring I'd lost $12.95.
And soon after, the calls started coming over and over and over from scammers posing as security officials from Google.
And they told me that they had called to let me know that I had a level 3 security breach.
They told her that click on the fire sale desk compromised all of her personal information, her PayPal and her bank accounts, and now they needed control of her computer to patch the security breach.
Up at the top, I have all my favorites. And, one is my OnPoint, and one is PayPal. So when you click on it, it automatically signs in. So when they took control of my computer, then they saw what I saw.
To fix all the security breaches, they told Joy to go buy $500 Google Play cards, a lot of them, and then call them with the serial numbers.
So I reluctantly went out and I got those cards and I gave them their numbers.
But here's where it gets even more sinister. When Joy's money was gone,
they're pretty good.
The scammers deposited their money into her PayPal account and then remotely transferred it into her bank account so she could buy more Google Play cards. After she bought them, those deposits were rescinded.
Every $1,500 they sent me, and they said that was the maximum they could send.
Yeah.
So I would go out and I would buy 3 $500 Google Play cards.
Eventually, all the evidence of the deposits, transfers, purchases, and Google Play cards disappeared from Joy's computer.
Substituting PayPal or Venmo or some form of a digital wallet is definitely becoming more common.
Experts say gift card scams are not new, but tech imposter scams are, and they're taking over PayPal accounts to steal your money. The Better Business Bureau has received more than 7,000 local complaints just in the last 2 years. And for scammers, Google Play cards are as good as cash.
It is not refundable as a consumer, so it's a really safe way for the scammer to make sure they get your money. Because a Google Play card can be used in so many different ways and forms. It's like taking cash out of your wallet.
And so
Joy closed her bank account, changed her account information, and got a new computer. But because of those bogus deposits from the scammers, she says she's likely on the hook for $9,080.
And they came in and just cleaned it off.
In Gresham tonight, Chris Willis, KGW News.
Joy is in her 70s and on Social Security, and you might think seniors are the most vulnerable to these scams, but turns out that's not the case. Microsoft's latest research indicates young people, especially millennials, are most likely to lose money in a tech scam. They say younger users tend to engage in riskier online behavior, and since they're more familiar with technology, they get taken by their overconfidence. Joy is now working with her bank and PayPal to try to get out of this $9,000 bill.